Welcome to my next Lost Season 6 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important. If you weren't caught up to the point where I am every watching or watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, if you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, I've already watched the entire series of Lost 3 other times. It's in my top 5 favorite TV shows of all time. I absolutely love it. So join me and the legendary Crazy Coffee Man, who's actually watching Lost for the very first time on this journey. And let's discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comments section. However, I don't want you to spoil anything past this episode in this video. So with all that said, this will be Lost Season 6, Episode 11. The title of this episode is called Happily Ever After. And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start with Desmond waking up in the Hydra infirmary. Zoe introduces herself and explains that he has been unconscious for 3 days, and she's given him a shot to help him wake up. Desmond calls out demanding to see Penny. Charles Whitmore says that will not be possible. Whitmore reminds Desmond that he was shot by Benjamin Linus. Desmond calls for Penny again, but Whitmore says she is not there, but that she and their son are perfectly safe. Whitmore says he didn't have a chance to explain, but that if he had, Desmond would not have come with him. When Whitmore tries to explain that he has brought him back to the island, Desmond attacks Whitmore and has to be restrained. He screams to take him back, but Whitmore tells him that he cannot, saying, "The island isn't done with you yet." Jin, who has been standing there just outside watching this, asks Charles Whitmore what Desmond is doing on the island. Whitmore says that it'll be easier to show than explain, and tells Zoe to bring Jin to the generator room where they can start the test. Zoe protests that the test is not scheduled yet, but Charles Whitmore insists and tells her to get it ready now. Zoe leads Jin outside. They pass the generators in one large central piece of equipment shaped like a cube. Upstairs in the control room of the Hydra station, preparations are underway with laptops, monitors, and electrical controls. Seamus says that Zoe that they aren't even close to being ready. They test the generator at full power, but a circuit soon fails. Seamus sends a technician named Simmons to check the circuit on the coils in the central structure outside, and Seamus tells the White Rabbit, I don't remember what the name of it is, that he is going in there next. And then Simmons goes into the outside unit, but in the control room, a technician finds that the fault and immediately throws a switch to repower the coils. They realize that Simmons is inside and that he is engulfed in shock waves generated by the coils. Power is turned off, after which Simmons and Zoe run down to the main box and find Simmons smoking and dead. His face charred. Whitmore arrives and asks Zoe whether they are ready as Desmond is dragged in struggling. The dead man Simmons is taken out, and Whitmore looks sadly at his face but orders Desmond to be taken inside. He says to Desmond that if what he has heard about him is true, he will be fine. Desmond is tied to a chair between the coils. Whitmore tells Desmond that once the experiment is over with, he will ask Desmond to make a sacrifice. Desmond cynically asks Whitmore what he knows about sacrifice. Whitmore tells him that his son died here for the sake of the island, that Penny hates him, and that he hasn't even met his grandson yet. He adds that if Desmond won't help, it will be all for nothing, as everyone will be gone forever, and Desmond is locked in the coil chamber. Jin demands to know what is happening. Whitmore explains that Desmond is the only person known to have survived a catastrophic magnetic event, and that he needs to know that Desmond can do it again or we all die. He orders the experiment to be turned on. The closed-circuit version show Desmond free of his blinds, frantically trying to escape from the room. Whitmore pulls the switches to start the coils himself, and Desmond is engulfed by the flux. Our flash sideways. Desmond's reflection is seen in the Oceanic Airlines arrival board at LAX as he is looking at it, lost in thought. Hugo Hurley passes and tells him that the luggage is on Carousel 4. At the carousel, Claire is struggling with her baggage, and Desmond helps her. He asks her whether she is expecting a boy or a girl. When she says she doesn't know, he says that she is braver than he is and that he is not a fan of surprises. He offers her a lift, and after she refuses, he says that the baby is a boy. Desmond is met by George Minkowski, who was in season 4 on the freighter, his driver. He asks to be taken to the office. George offers lovely ladies for companionship, and when Desmond says he is here to work, George says that is why Desmond is the boss's right-hand man and he is the driver. Desmond is greeted by Whitmore's assistant, who sends him into Whitmore's office, where Desmond and Whitmore greet each other warmly. Desmond looks at the sailing ship model as Whitmore speaks on the phone, instructing the person on the other end to get him arranged and get him out of there. Whitmore explains that is his son, the musician, wanted to combine classical music with rock at a charity event that Mrs. Whitmore is hosting. He says that the bass guitarist for Drive Shaft overdosed and was arrested. He asked Desmond to babysit the guitarist and get him to the event. Otherwise, Mrs. Whitmore states that, will be angry. Desmond agrees to help, and Whitmore states that he is grateful to have someone he trusts to do the job. He adds that Desmond really has the life being free of all attachments. Whitmore pours a 60-year-old McCutcheon whiskey to celebrate Desmond's essentially his dependability. Desmond drives to the courthouse. An attorney comes out with Charlie Pace. Desmond introduces himself to Charlie, but Charlie ignores him and walks across the road. Doesn't even care. Like, he just walks in the middle of the road with traffic, and then into a bar named Jack's. Desmond joins him. Charlie asks him if he is happy, and when Desmond reels off evidence of his material success, Charlie says that what he is talking about is spectacular, altering love. Charlie tells a story about how he saw a blonde woman in a vision while he was about to die from choking on a bag of heroin. Charlie says, "I've seen something real. I've seen the truth." Desmond says that the real truth is not this vision of love, but the necessity of making a choice between continuing to drink or coming with Desmond to play at the charity show with all that stuff. Charlie tells Desmond that the song on the radio is Drive Shaft's first single, and that he says that it was the beginning of everything great. Charlie then offers Desmond a choice between showing him what he is talking about or getting out of the bar or the car. Charlie grabs the steering wheel and they careen over a pier into the water. The car sinks. Desmond frees himself, and when he can't release Charlie's seatbelt, he swims to the surface and then exiting through his open driver's side window. Desmond dives back and goes to Charlie's door. Charlie wakes and is staring at Desmond, raising his palm to the window. For a moment, Desmond sees Charlie show his palm at the looking glass hatch with the words, "Not Penny's boat." He looks again, and the vision has passed. Desmond gets the door open and brings Charlie to the surface. A doctor examines Desmond at St. Sebastian Hospital. She asks whether he had hallucinations. Desmond pauses and says that he's not sure. The doctor wants to do an MRI scan, but Desmond says he doesn't have time and needs to find the person he was brought to the hospital with. But the doctor insists he have the MRI. Desmond is prepared for the MRI by a technician. He's given a panic button and asked to try not to press it, otherwise they will have to start all over again, and the test is started. Desmond immediately sees the vision of Charlie at the looking glass hatch, showing the message on his palm. He then sees a glowing thing of his life with Penny and their love for one another. Desmond presses the button repeatedly and says to the technician that he must find Charlie. Desmond asks at the nurse's desk about Charlie, but it's rebuffed. He sees Jack and reintroduces himself. As Desmond asks Jack for help finding Charlie, Charlie runs down the passageway, pursued by a nurse. Desmond gives chase, and when he corners him, Charlie says he is running because no one at the hospital can help him. He denies trying to kill Desmond, but instead says that he was trying to show him something. Desmond wants to see his hand. Charlie realizes that Desmond must have seen something. Desmond asks, "Who is Penny?" And Charlie says he is not going to perform because none of this matters. As he leaves, Charlie says to stop worrying about him and start looking for Penny. Desmond rings Whitmore to tell him of not having Charlie in his care. Whitmore is angry and tells Desmond that he can explain to Mrs. Whitmore what happened. And then they go to the Golden State Natural History Museum. George asks Desmond whether Desmond has met Mrs. Whitmore before, implying that she is a difficult person. When Desmond introduces himself to Mrs. Whitmore, she is charming, says that it's about time they met, and instructs him to call her Eloise. Desmond explains what has happened, and Eloise says that it's okay, that her son will understand because employing rock stars means something unpredictable must come with the territory. When Desmond asks if she is angry, Eloise says, "Not at all, dear. What happened, happened." Desmond hears the name Penny read from the list of guests by one of the organizers. When he tries to see the list, Eloise intervenes sternly and takes the list from him. She takes him aside and tells him to stop that. Whatever it is that he thinks he is looking for, he should stop looking for it. She says that he should not need to look for anything, that he has the perfect life and has attained the thing he wanted more than anything, the approval of Charles Whitmore. She adds that it is, in fact, a violation. When he presses her about the list, she says that he cannot see the list because he is not ready yet. Desmond has a drink when a knock comes at his window. The man knows Desmond's name and introduces himself as Daniel Whitmore, otherwise known as Daniel Faraday. Saying that they need to talk, Desmond starts to apologize for Charlie's absence, but Daniel asks if he believes in love at first sight. Daniel tells him of his love for a redhead who works at the museum. He says that when he saw her, it was as if he already loved her. He states that on the same night he woke and wrote in his notebook. He shows Desmond the notebook entry and explains that a mathematician friend said that these were advanced quantum mechanic equations, which would need a lifetime of study to understand. He tries to explain to Desmond that it is as if something catastrophic has been about to happen, and the only way to stop it had been to release a huge amount of energy, like setting off a nuclear bomb. He rhetorically asked whether this life was not meant to be, and whether there had been another life in which, for some reason, we changed things. In which Daniel adds that he doesn't need to set off a nuclear bomb because he thinks he already has. Desmond says he doesn't know what this has to do with him. Daniel then asks why Desmond is looking for Penny. Desmond says that he doesn't know what he has found and that it is just an idea, but Daniel tells him he knows and that what he has found is love. When Desmond says he doesn't even know that this woman exists, Daniel says no, she's my half-sister, and tells Desmond where to find her. Penny is exercising in a stadium. Desmond watches her running the stairs and approaches. She sees him and smiles back. He asks if she is Penny, introducing himself. They reach over and shake hands. Desmond suddenly opens his eyes and he's back on the island. Seamus and the other technicians go into the chamber and find Desmond alive. Whitmore asks him how he is. Desmond asks how long he's been unconscious, and he's told only a few seconds have passed. Whitmore states that his talent is vital to the mission and begins to explain why, but Desmond interrupts and says that he understands and is ready to begin doing that which is required. Zoe and two others escort Desmond back to their base. Zoe is surprised at Desmond's willingness, saying that he was beating Whitmore 20 minutes ago. Desmond explains that his cooperativeness by saying that a lot can happen in 20 minutes. Saeed leaps out of the bushes, quickly dispatching the 2 escorts, and points a gun at Zoe, tells her to run. She takes his advice and does so. Saeed says to Desmond that these people are extremely dangerous and that he and Desmond need to go now. Desmond cooperatively answers, "Of course, lead the way." Back to our flash sideways, Desmond revives and asks what happened. Penny explains that he fainted and that she must have quite the effect on him. He agrees. She asks if they have met before, to which Desmond says that they would have remembered. Desmond invites Penny to coffee, and they make plans to meet in a coffee shop in an hour. Desmond returns to the limousine, George inside it, and asks Desmond whether he found what he was looking for. Desmond says that he did, and George asks if he can get Desmond anything else, and Desmond asks for the Oceanic Flight 815 manifest, saying, "I just need to show them something." And that's what ends this episode of Lost. So pretty good episode. I'm going to give it an 8.3 out of 10. Character of the episode, obviously Desmond. I'll give the secondary character to Charlie, as well as Charles Whitmore. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Lost and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please don't forget to Hulk smash the like button, share this video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section, interact with me and the legendary Crazy Coffee Man. Remember, he's watching the show for the first time, so no spoilers past this episode, but what would your score be? Who would your characters of the episode be? And anything else that you want to add. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Yes, I know, I set my goals high. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know where you're going to see on JDev TV.